We wish to keep our workshop limited to discussion regarding the school construction management activities. We hope to discuss timelines, community involvement, communication, and things like that. This workshop is conducted in the public, but it is not an open dialogue with the public. We will be discussing that among ourselves. If you wish to have public participation, you would sign up on this sheet and have public participation as we have done in the past. So, we'll explain that. We also, as a board, we wish to bring to mind that, and I am reading from our public participation at board meetings, board policy BDDH-R, and it is also the same as board policy KD-R, and particularly point number 4. Speakers may offer objective criticism of school operation and programs, but the board will not hear complaints about school personnel or other persons at a public session. Other channels providing for board consideration of complaints involving individuals exist and shall be used. Number 5, the board president will have the authority to terminate the remarks of any individual who does not adhere to the above rules. Persons appearing before the board are reminded that although requests may be directed to the board, action and answers to questions must be deferred pending board consideration. So that is from our board policy that has been in effect since June 26, 1990. The first discussion that we did get the good notice from Department of Education last Thursday, I believe, the 27th. I received an email from Dr. John Marinucci with a link to the state of Delaware budget. And on that budget, under section 1, I think, Stacey, you put that link on the website, on the school website, yes? You can go under education, and you can see where Laurel was awarded to the money for construction, a 1,400 student combined middle school, high school, for the state share, which is $10,665,600. And Laurel was given money for land acquisition for this 1,400 combined high school, middle school for $304,000. And again, that's the state portion. So all of you that were maybe at the meeting back in November when we had Dr. Marinucci come in and talk to us about after we had our successful referendum and what the next steps were, those were the two figures, the monies that he had asked for. So we did indeed get exactly as he has asked for. So that's something we certainly should celebrate and be happy with. No, I've got it here somewhere. Oh, okay. All right. So the other thing that, I mean, this is not just me talking, so I want our board members to feel, to jump in and also have some ideas or discussion, but I did write down some ideas of things that we wanted to discuss tonight. And the first thing I'd like to discuss, oh, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead of myself. I absolutely did. I apologize. I jumped ahead of myself. It is time for public participation. The first one, so sorry. And we have 4 names on public participation. David Brown, you're first.
My name is David Brown. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and continue to turn out like we are tonight, every meeting from now on. As you know, ever since the referendum started, there's been rumors floating around town. It happened at the referendum. It happened with Dr. McCoy, and it's happened again this week. I have tried to find out the bottom line about this rumor. I haven't been able to quite yet, but the rumor that I will address concerns Harvey and Brent, and that there was a question this week, I guess, brought up that they had been asked to either leave the board or resign from the board. I would like to represent our group and our committee that if this rumor is true, and we don't know that it is, but we'll address it anyway, because some of the rumors that we've heard have come very true, to Harvey and Brent, that we back you 100%. We do not want you to in any way, shape, or form consider leaving this board. If you have any problems at all, we'd like to be able to help you. But we know what you're up against now with the board that we have represented in front of us, and we will do everything we can to help you. But we ask that you please remain on. And if this rumor is true, please don't let that happen. We want to make sure you stay here. Thank you.
Donna Reed.
My name's Donna Reed from Laurel. We're here as a special school board meeting. Was called kind of at the last minute or whatever. There was some public notice given. I don't feel there was enough public notice given, but like David, I'm glad everybody's here. I would just like to ask everybody to, the board is saying to get the community involved in the building committee or the involvement of the school board and the whole building process we're supposed to undertake. I'd just like to know why we were always told that the community would be involved and that there would be people asked to be on the building committee, maybe going around to see other schools, to have some input into the design of our school buildings. We are the taxpayers. You know, we have had, as far as I know, no one has been asked from this community, even though there were referendum committees, and I was very strongly against the first referendum, as most of you know. But I was on the second referendum committee and very happy that it did pass at a reduced cost. But I am a little taken back that there has been nothing by the board ever asking any community involvement and, you know, any opinions or, you know, none of the teachers, like Mr. Cass has been very, you know, outspoken. And he couldn't be here tonight because of, you know, another commitment to the band and his job and everything. But, I mean, even he hasn't been asked anything. There have been no committees formed. There has been nothing from the school board asking the public to participate, to have any input. Once the referendum was passed, it's like, we have no opinion about anything anymore. All we are here to do is pay our taxes. And that is my next point. It's public knowledge that the Sussex County property taxes, at least 80% of our property taxes paid to this school district or paid to the county, 80% goes to property tax, or goes to school taxes, excuse me. Last winter, there was a lot of, with the weather, the hardships and all that, there was a lot of people who were put in a real financial bind. But the people sitting on our school board who represent us as taxpayers in this community, I feel have an obligation to the taxpayers of this town who pay their property taxes and who pay them in a timely manner. I think every person on the school board should be paid up on their property taxes. If they expect us to pay for these new schools, I expect all the board members to be paying their property taxes in a timely manner. To the citizens of this school district why they're not paid up. Thank you.
Good statement, Don.
Thank you.
Chris Shirey.
community to look at school board policy, and you said you would take it under advisement. I was wondering if you had an answer yet on that.
This is not a, we would, when we get to future policy discussions, but it's not a time when you come and ask the board questions and get results and get answers. It's not.
So it's still under advisement?
Yes. And Jennifer Gibbons?
I'm Jennifer Gibbons, principal at the middle school, and I just had good information for the board and for the community. Our band instructor at the middle school, Jason Rogers, works very hard with students beginning the first week of school to practice for auditions for honors band. And he gave me a notice today that said that Laurel Middle School had once again the highest participation and acceptance and award for students in the honors band throughout Sussex County. We had 12 students who earned 13 spots, which means one student earned a spot with more than one instrument in the honors band. That was higher than the next three were all high schools: Indian River High School, Sussex Tech, and Cape Henlopen. We had 12 spots. They only had 8. The School of the Arts, which is an art school, only had 3. Arts and Sciences only had 2. Our neighbors, Woodbridge had 2, Delmar had 1, Seaford had 1, so we by far and away outperformed our neighbors, and a lot of credit goes to Mr. Rogers and to those students, and then I hope that we'll be able to give them certificates of recognition at a later board meeting.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes the names that I have on public participation. Okay, so again, we need to, as a board, discuss our, some topics that I just put out, or any other that I'll bring up, or anybody else has any other topics to discuss. One thing I want to discuss is what level of involvement the board wants in managing the construction of the schools.
We're going to have, from my understanding, there's 2 different things: a CM, construction manager, and a CM at risk. CM at risk, from what I understand, goes for, he is responsible, the CM at risk is responsible for getting the project completed, financial responsibility. And the CM is just, he just works for us. Is that correct?
Well, again, I'm going back to our discussion that we had with Dr. Marinucci back in November. And at that night, we talked about 3 different, we talked about 2 different positions. First of all, we talked about a liaison. And that liaison would be a district employee, engage someone to represent the district's best interest to all stakeholders and the parties involved, and sort of get that thing started. Although a district employee can be paid through referendum funds, that sort of thing. And then we talked about the project management, whether it be a construction management firm or whether you go with a general contractor or that sort of thing. Now, what has happened, I guess last summer, and I talked to Dr. Marinucci again about it this week, is that there was some legislation passed, and I apologize, I asked Dr. Marinucci to put this in writing so that I could read it and get it 100% clear, and he did not come back to me with that as yet. But how I understand it is that the construction management now is at risk, and so they do have some greater responsibility for the construction management. However, Dr. Marinucci says that there is some sort of conflict